We are now joined by Solomia Bobrovska. She's a member of the Ukrainian Parliament and the Secretary Foreign Affairs Committee, Deputy Head of the Ukrainian delegation to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization Parliamentary Assembly. Solomia Bobrovska, many thanks for joining us here on India Today. We are looking at images of President Zelensky in Hiroshima. Ma'am, what are your expectations of President Zelensky meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
So first of all, I think that this meeting will be very crucial and very important for Ukraine, and actually for both leaders of the states. And finally, they could meet in person. They can finally talk in person. And I think, we all hope, as a Ukrainian nation, that India will a bit change their position on Russian-Ukrainian war. We saw during the last year, almost and a half, the neutrality, but we saw how deeply the ties from Russian side are in India, and how India is trying to keep the face with Ukraine, but more even with Russia, is saving so many Russian connections and ties, especially in India. And we hope, and we need that actually, and we want to rely on India as a not just the partner, but I would say even a friend. And we hope that India will change the position and won't be keeping the same side with Russia and China.
Okay. Ms. Bobrovska, when it comes to India-Ukraine ties, they have very warm relationship. You know, when Ukraine became an independent country, India was amongst the first to recognize it and open an embassy in Kiev. There was a consulate earlier in Odessa, and the first embassy that Ukraine opened in Asia was in India. So there is a very warm history. How can that be taken forward? What does President Zelensky bring to the table when he meets Prime Minister Modi?
Yes, you're quite right. And we had in 90s the really very warm, and now as well. And we see how the embassy in Ukraine and your Indian citizens, how we all find the communications, and we have the very warm times. You're quite right. But we know how Russian is working. They with the economy proposals, with the military proposals, and so my perception that Zelensky will propose the much more deeper cooperation, much more new even pages of our cooperation from India-Ukrainian cooperation, and we have to be back to open, to discover each other, to be open more to each other, and finally to start the new track. And we hope that India will change the position from neutrality to support and condemning the Russian aggression in Ukraine. We need that.